Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our penultimate Premier League predictions. Matchday 37 is somehow already here. Another weekend of maybe not as many storylines, but some big games to dive into from the penultimate weekend's Premier League action. Extended weekend with the FA Cup this weekend. So we also have games extending to Tuesday, I think Wednesday night as well. Some big games in there. Can Aston Villa keep pushing up to achieve Champions League football? Can Chelsea hold on to their final spot in the Champions League positions? How high do Bournemouth want to climb? Do Crystal Palace and Man City have enough to keep going after their FA Cup final on Saturday as well? So a lot of key storylines going into this weekend despite the relegation, the champions already being sorted out. Looking at our points, we've finally hit our target. 252 points right now after only 4 points last weekend. Means we've hit our goal of 250 points so far this season. If you're wondering how the point system works, 3 points correct scoreline, 1 point for the correct result, 0 points for neither. If you want to join in across these last 2 weeks, let me know in the comment section down below how you go and follow on with some of my predictions as well. With that being said, guys, let's now jump straight in to these Premier League predictions for the weekend's action. We have some massive games on tonight, including this one, Aston Villa hosting Spurs. Obviously, Villa, a massive game for them in their hunt for Champions League football. Currently sitting just outside of it after their hard-fought 1-0 win, going down to 10 men away at Bournemouth last time out. It's been back-to-back important 1-0 wins in recent weeks versus Bournemouth and also away against Fulham as well. They've got 4 wins in their past 5 Premier League games and now only goal difference outside of the top 5. So they come to this game with confidence. They've played some great football in 2025 and really refound the attacking identity in the final third. Looking into this game here, Spurs are a side that's heavily focused on European football and the cup final coming in just under a week's time. They'll be coming less focused, obviously out of form. We'll get into their form in a little bit. So I'm looking to the midfield area. Kamara and Onana were fantastic last time out, taking on that Bournemouth side. Yet again, they're going to have a big role to play. You win the midfield battle, you keep on top of Spurs, relentless attacking football. Eventually, the Spurs back line will break down. So look to those two to control the pace, control momentum, and keep Aston Villa on the front foot in this Friday night clash. Looking at Spurs, they were embarrassed last time out, a 2-0 home defeat to Crystal Palace. It probably doesn't show the dominance that Palace had. They cruised that game. Spurs nowhere near it, despite playing a few of their main starters. Now look, this game here might not mean much to them, but they need some confidence, they need some form going into this cup final in a few days' time. There will be some rotation. They've got 14 goals conceded in their last 5 Premier League games, so they need to tighten up defensively. If Romero, Van de Ven still obviously important for those two, but even with the rotated group, Danso, Davies, Jed Spence, potentially Pedro Porro, it's about continuing momentum. It's about instilling belief into this squad. I think it'll be really, really important in this game in particular, and then for the confidence even to that cup final. If they can try and keep a clean sheet or keep it compact and limit the spaces for Aston Villa to operate into. So that for me is the key in this game here. There might be a rotated squad, there might be some starters, but I think for Tottenham, the focus has to be a little bit more defensive solidity, especially going into that cup final in a few days' time. With that being said, how do I see this game going? Aston Villa, for me, dominate it. They've got everything to play for. Spurs have really nothing to play for here in the Premier League. I think Aston Villa can really get Champions League football. They've hit form at the right time of the season. They get a 3-0 win here for me versus out of form Spurs side, and they continue their charge into the top 5. Our second Friday night game sees Chelsea host Manchester United. A massive game for Chelsea as well, as they hope to keep in the top 5. Obviously, they were well beaten last time out by Newcastle United. A 2-0 loss there. Really went at their best. Obviously hurt by that early red card to Nicholas Jackson. But they have had some decent form as of recent times. 4 wins and 1 loss in their last 5 games. They've scored 9 goals in that time here. And it's been a great balance between defence and attack for this Chelsea side. But it's so important that they do not let that defensive identity slip away. That has got them to where they are so far this season. They've refound that solidity at the back. Cucurella leading alongside Caicedo in those wing-back positions. And then for me in this game here, versus a Man United side that also has an eye on Europe in a few days' time, Cole Palmer has the chance to tear this game apart. He often loves games versus Manchester United. Get him on the ball as much as possible. Didn't see much of him versus Newcastle last weekend, and he really faded out of that game there. Get him on the ball, force feed him, he'll make good things happen. So look to Cole Palmer to be central to everything which Chelsea do in this game here. Obviously at Manchester United, another disappointing result for them last time out, a 2-0 home loss to West Ham. Only 1 point picked up in the last 5 Premier League games for Manchester United. But you know the talent's there. 11 goals scored in their previous 5 games in all competitions. So there's goals in this side. Obviously, the disparity between Premier League and European football has been disastrous. And similar to Tottenham, it's all about getting some confidence and getting some form going into that cup final. A chance for Garnacho, Mason Mount, Manuel Ugarte to just get a bit of a better feel of football, maybe control the game a bit more here versus the Chelsea side, and have the ability to go and create. United have struggled in creating chances, clear-cut opportunities for their forwards in the Premier League. It's something they're going to have to do versus Spurs in the cup final. It's a great chance in this game here for some of those key players to get some form and some momentum going into that cup final there. I still don't think United lay a glove on Chelsea. Similar to the other Friday night game, Chelsea have all to play for. United really nothing to play for right now. Chelsea get a 2-0 win here for me. United will keep it tight. They'll make it a tough game, but Chelsea's quality will show through in the end. We shift our focus to Goodison Park for Everton and Southampton. The Toffees coming off a fantastic 3-1 victory over Fulham last time out. 2 wins, a draw and 2 losses in their last 5 games for the club. Not too bad. However, the thing that's been bright for me is 6 goals scored in those past 5 games. They're starting to find their back of the net at a greater rate. They're looking a bit more dangerous, especially in that last game versus Fulham in the final third. And as such, Decore, Harrison, Dwight McNeil, Alcaraz, even Iliman and Jai, whoever plays in behind, Beto up top, have a massive job, especially versus Southampton. There is the onus of Everton to get on the ball and play some attacking football and commit some numbers forward. It's about those players in behind the striker, being incisive and creating those opportunities. Looking at Southampton, it's been decent for them recent times. A fantastic performance last time at 0-0 versus Man City. Showed some backbone. Really, really good to see from this Saints side. Yes, they've only scored 2 goals in their past 5 games, but they have picked up 2 points. 2 important points, which mean they do not break the record for the lowest points tally in the Premier League. So it means a lot for this side here. And once again, if that back 3 can perform like they did versus Man City, I'm looking at Harwood Bellis, Jan Bednarek and Stevens. Well, that's the key for them going forward in this game here as well. Obviously, both sides have little to nothing to play for. It's all about attacking football, you'd think. But for Southampton, if they can stay solid defensively, if these players can play with a bit more pride yet again, like they did versus Man City, well, we've got a real game on our hands here. I think Everton at home, though, they get the crowd behind them. One of the last games ever at Goodison Park for the men's side, and they just get over the line here for me. I've gone with an Everton 2-1 win here. Southampton will make it interesting, but Everton's quality in the final third will make sure they prevail in this one here for me. The location is the London Stadium for West Ham and Nottingham Forest. Obviously, the Hammers coming off one of their best results under Graham Potter with that 2-0 win at Old Trafford. Surely some confidence now is instilled to this side to go and play a little bit more attractive football. It's their first win in their last 8 games. 5 points from the last 5 games is the sign of a little bit of belief, bit of confidence now in this unit potentially going forward. Look, I look at this game here, Wan-Bissaka, Vladimir Coufal, they really stood out at Old Trafford versus Manchester United. It's been a theme of West Ham all season. The wing-backs have done a lot of the work for this West Ham side, not only defending the wide spaces, which is just so important versus Nottingham Forest side, but also driving the side forward, getting on the ball, being direct, making runs to stretch opposition back line. So Wan-Bissaka and Vladimir Coufal hold the key yet again for West Ham in going both directions, covering off defensively, limiting Dominguez, Elanga and co going forward. But then also when they get in the front foot and attack, well, there's a chance for them to get in behind, to commit some numbers forward and potentially create some overloads, which Nottingham Forest may struggle to stop. Looking at Forest, another poor result, 2-2 home draw last time out versus Leicester City. You saw the owner come on the pitch and storm on, have a chat with Nuno Espirito Santo. It seems to be crumbling a little bit here. Obviously, they've secured European football for next season, but this was always the question we had with Nottingham Forest, and especially Nuno Espirito Santo. You build good sides, you play some good football at times, but once the first poor result happens, how do you respond? And they really haven't done that across the last month or so. It's only 5 goals scored in their past 5 games, coinciding with only 1 win in the Premier League, and that's been their problem. Free-flowing attacking football has disappeared in recent weeks, and as such, they've really gone in their shell and they've struggled. Look, in this game here, you have to see more from Alanga, Gibbs White, and Chris Wood. They were all much better last time out versus Leicester City, and for once, their back line let them down. But coming into this game here versus West Ham, who are very pragmatic, who have been really poor in 2025, it's a real chance to go and make a statement, be on the front foot, play with speed, play with intensity in the final third, and make things happen. Finish the season off on a bright note. I think they do that in this game here. I think West Ham, not good enough for me defensively. They don't hold on strong enough to limit what Nottingham Forest do, and as such, Forest get a 3-1 win here away from home to get back on track here in the second to last game of the season. We're at the G-Tech for Brentford, who play host to Fulham, an all-London clash in this one here. Brentford, just fantastic football in recent weeks. They've got this confidence right now. It was a tough 1-0 win at Ipswich last time out, and that's been a theme with them in recent weeks, finding a way to get results and keep winning. Unbeaten in the last 6 games, 4 wins in a row, 12 goals in the last 5 games. And it's been pretty clear. That stat has stood out for me. Those 12 goals, it's been about Visser, it's been about Mbeumo, and it's been in particular about Kevin Schade. He's playing with much more confidence. He's free in the final third. That change of pace, the agility in the final third has been a difference maker in recent games. Assists and goals have come very easily from him and Brian and Mbeumo. And I look to those two players in the wide spaces here to make the most of how attacking those Fulham fullbacks can be. I think they could be the difference makers in this game here. If Schade and Mbeumo are clinical, if they're dangerous, if they're using their pace to get in behind this Fulham back line, I think Brentford run out clear winners. But it's all about Fulham and how they respond in this game here. They were poor in their home loss, 3-1 versus Everton last time out. Only scored 4 goals in their past 5 matches, and importantly, no clean sheet in 8 games. They're struggling keeping clean sheets, and they're coming up against one of the best attacking sides currently in the Premier League. It's also a classic fire and ice type situation here. What will happen? Will it be an onslaught for Brentford, or will Fulham find their defensive identity yet again in this game here? For me, it all comes down to Pereira and Sander Berge. I think when Sander Berge is in control of the midfield, when he's winning those midfield battles, when he's protecting that back four, it goes a long way for Fulham to be much more solid defensive unit. I think for them in this game, if they're going to get something out of it, they need to be much more defensively orientated, a bit more tougher there, robust defensively as their calling card for the rest of their performance. Do I think that happens? I think it does happen, but not to the extent to stop what Brentford do. I think Schade and Mbeumo and Visser run a bit riot in this game here, and they get the win for me. 2-1 Brentford victory here at home versus Fulham, continuing Fulham's poor run of form. Leicester City play host to Ipswich in the battle of the 2 relegated sides in our next game. Obviously, Leicester coming off that 2-2 draw last time out away at Nottingham Forest, one of their better performances on the season, and they've left it late to show some of their best attacking football in recent weeks. They've gone on one of their probably best scoring runs of this whole season. 6 goals scored in their past 5 games. It's 5 points picked up in their last 5 games as well. It's been a real good period of time for the Foxes at the moment, and it's a chance for, once again, them to send off Jamie Vardy in the right manner here. I'm looking to him and Jordan Ayew as the experienced players up top to make it count yet again. If they're clinical, if they're dangerous and making things tick over in the final third, I think Leicester come to this side as the more informed side and the more dangerous side in the final third. So look to those 2 players in particular, those older players, to make a mark in this game here in the battle of the 2 relegated sides. And looking at Ipswich, competitive in their 1-0 home loss last time out. However, the lack of clean sheets has been a big problem for them this season. No clean sheet in the last 18 games from the side has been a real glaring sign, with 12 goals conceded in their past 5 games. They have to shore up more defensively. And look, in this game here, 2 relegated sides, I expect it to be back and forth. Not much defensive identity between the 2 sides. So look, I'm looking at Delap. Can he get the service and the delivery which he requires? I'm looking at Amari Hutchinson, Julio Enciso, potentially if Chaplin can put on the kit yet again after a bit of a knock in the last game. Can those players create for Delap in the final third? Can he get opportunities to score like he did come the end of 2024? Because I think in this game here, it's a battle of who can create enough for their forwards. Vardy and Delap are 2 great clinical forwards in the final third, but they haven't had much creative for it for themselves this season. And I think it's the battle of who can create more in this game here. Both strikers put balls in the back of the net. It's about who can deliver the better balls towards a striker. And I think Leicester do that. I think they get a tough 1-0 win here for me and against two sides that are just going to go hammer and tongs to show what they're all about in this penultimate match day. Arsenal and Newcastle is our next game as both these sides battle for second place in the Premier League this season. Arsenal, look, it was a great comeback last time at that 2-2 draw with Liverpool at Anfield. Showed a bit of backbone, a bit of character, which they've really lacked in recent games with them falling out of the Champions League and a few rough Premier League results. It's no win in their last 5 games in all competitions, and they want to try and finish the season off on a brighter note. It's been a real dull, dark end to the season with no trophies to fight for and being really nowhere in the league. But this game is massive for them. A chance to keep a hold of that second spot in the league and really prove they have been the second best team in the Premier League this season. And with players' motivations being elsewhere or focuses being adrift, it's really important they lock in on this game here and get this result. It'd be such a shame to give up second place to Newcastle after really living in that position all season long. And look, Newcastle are dangerous and they're a side in form. So I'm looking to Jakub Kiwior and William Saliba at the back, the heart of the defence. They were fantastic in the Champions League across all their knockout stage games, but in particular versus Real Madrid. Can we see a very similar performance in this game here versus Newcastle United to shut down Alexander Isak, to limit the threat of midfield late runs into the box and protect that box and their 6-yard box with their lives? Because we know Newcastle are dangerous. They can turn it on. They've got electricity in the final third. And it's been so important that Saliba and Kiwior are up for the task in this game here to keep the clean sheet for Arsenal. Looking at Newcastle, they were sensational last time out. A 2-0 dominant display versus Chelsea. Obviously helped by the Nicholas Jackson red card, but throughout that game, they never really gave up control. They were dominant from start to finish, and they look to carry that into this game here. They really will love second place in the Premier League. A win leapfrogs them over Arsenal. It gets them where they think they can be in the future, where they deserve to be. Their performances have improved drastically in 2025. Off the back of that Carabao Cup trophy lift, they've been a new side. They've refound that confidence and that, I think, dominance in the centre of the park. And I look to them yet again in the middle of the park. Joelinton, Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, they are the energizers. They are the cogs that make this Newcastle United side turn. In particular, Sandro Tonali, the defensive sweeper, the physical beast in midfield, but also popping up with goals now in his game as well. He's the ultimate two-way threat. It's similar to what we saw from Douglas Luiz at Aston Villa last season. He can do a bit of everything and help Newcastle win games in so many different ways. So he'll be important alongside, obviously, the workhorses in Joelinton and the dynamism of Bruno Guimaraes in midfield. They've scored 12 goals in their past 5 games. We know they've got goals. We know they've got attacking identity in their game. It's about how they respond to what Arsenal do going the other way as well. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be a real great watch. I think Newcastle, they're coming with a great run of form. They're scoring goals. They're confident. They're hungry for this result. And that hunger will get them the win here for me. A 2-1 win on the road to make sure they leapfrog Arsenal and go into second place. We're off to the south coast as Brighton play host to Liverpool. The Seagulls got a massive result last time. Had a 2-0 win away at in-form Wolves. Mean they've picked up 7 points from their last 3 games. A better improvement from a side that was very inconsistent during February and also March as well. Look at this game here. Liverpool absolutely on the beach. We've seen them celebrating abroad. Anna Slot gone away and celebrating midweek. Their focus is not on the Premier League. There's a real chance for Brighton to get back amongst the winners' books yet again in this game here. And look to the wide areas. Yankuba Minta, Simon Adingra, they've been dangerous at times this season, but it's been coinciding when Brighton have played their best football. If they can stand up in this game here, if they can threaten this Liverpool backline, stretch them and runs in behind, utilising their pace and trickery, well, Liverpool all at sea. I think it's a massive chance for them to stand up in this game here and secure all 3 points for the Seagulls. Looking at Liverpool, they let go of a lead last time out, that 2-2 home draw versus Arsenal. Obviously, a lot made of the Trent stuff and the off-field stuff. They come to this game here looking for a fresh start. And I think for some players, they're going to finish the season off on a high. There's some really self-motivated players in this side here, and I expect them to be right at it for minute 1 in this game here. And those players are going to be Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo. Gakpo wanted to show that he's the man to go forward in the wide spaces for this Liverpool side, with rumours of Rodrigo and others circulating with Jeremy Frimpong as well. He's playing for a position in this Liverpool side here. And then Mo Salah looking for that 30 goal, 20 assist season. so close to it. Can he get a few goal contributions in this game here to make the difference for Liverpool? By no means has goals been their problem. 11 goals in their past 5 games, but no win in the last 2. They're looking for a more complete performance, and I think they will perform it here versus Brighton. They have no means and no right to go and put together a strong performance, but I think they will. Arne Slot drills into these players. They're self-motivated. They want to finish the season off on a high. I think they get a massive 3-1 win here on the road versus Brighton. We're in South London for Crystal Palace and Wolves in our next game here. Obviously, Palace playing the FA Cup final on the weekend. So this game will be into next week. Look, last time out, fantastic. A 2-0 win away at Spurs. A great result for them. Unbeaten in the past 5 games, 3 clean sheets in that time there. We've talked about how good they've been defensively, and the likes of Margehi, Lacroix, Richards and company at the back. But look, it's going to be a heavily rotated side. It could be a really, really dull mood at the football club off the back of the FA Cup final. I really don't know what to predict coming to this game here, but you expect heavy rotation. So I'm looking to the likes of those spark players, those young players wanting to make a mark on Oliver Glasgow and his Palace side. So Devaney, Romain Essa, Daichi Kamada, all players on the outside looking to make an impact and trying to get in that starting 11 for next season. Look to those types of players to be key in this game here versus Wolves. It's going to have a bit of a party vibe about it in many regards because both teams have nothing to play for. Both teams like to play some free-flowing, attacking, attractive football. So these types of players could have a say in this game here if Palace want to pick up all 3 points. Looking at Wolves, it was a real struggling type performance in that 2-0 home loss to Brighton. It's ended a real great run of form for them with no goals in their past 2 games and they have such 2 losses in that time here. And they come to this game versus Crystal Palace, both teams playing a very similar system in terms of the way they line up. And I'm looking at Semedo and Ait-Nouri to be the difference makers. They're often, I guess, the symbol of how Wolves are going. If they're dominating the wide space, if they're driving forward, if they're covering off defensively, Wolves are a very, very complete side that can be very versatile, be pragmatic and defensive and sit in a shape, but also go forward and be that threat on the break in transition, utilising wide spaces. If those 2 wing-backs are at their best, I think Wolves absolutely dominate this game here versus Palace. If they're not, Palace have a way in this game. These younger players, those rotational players, will look to have a go and it could get a real close, tense affair. I do think, though, Wolves' quality and with the looming effects of the FA Cup final lingering over Crystal Palace, means Wolves will get over the line. I've gone with a 2-0 result. Again, this is so heavily dependent on how the FA Cup final goes, but I think Wolves with the fresher legs and with the more freedom to go and play their football will get the result in this game here for me. Our final game from this extended match day sees the other FA Cup finalists, Manchester City, play host to Bournemouth. City obviously on a great run of form in recent times, unbeaten in the last 10 games. However, they struggled in that 0-0 away draw to Southampton. Not some of their best attacking football. They showed signs in patches. They continue to be sending numbers forward and relentlessly attacking. They just couldn't find that final pass and that final finish, which has really been a theme of their season. In their worst moments, they've just struggled to find goals in their game, and that's been their real Achilles heel this season, why they couldn't be a second-place team or potentially pushing Liverpool all the way to the title. However, 4 clean sheets in their past 5 games shows they are very, very solid defensively, and the second-best home team this season. They protect the Etihad very, very well. Once again, another team coming off the Cup final, so the side, the makeup, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Look, I'm expecting players like McAtee, Foden, those rotational attacking players to be playing in this game here, but they've got elite level talent. They could take over this game here, put Bournemouth to the sword, a side that's not really playing for anything across these last 2 games here. So look to those 2, Savinho and Doku, as key players to really tear apart this Bournemouth back line. Looking at the Cherries, they went down 1-0 at home versus Aston Villa. Couldn't beat another major team at home. They've only scored 4 goals in their past 5 games, coinciding with 2 wins in their past 5 in the Premier League. And that's really left them in no man's land. Proper mid-table side at the end of it. They had so much hope at the back end of the season, but the lack of goals have really hurt this side here. And yes, that's going to be a major threat in this game here. Can they get goals to try and compete with Man City? But I'm just keen to see Dean Huijsen play alongside Ilya Zarbani for the second to last time. It's been a fantastic young centre-back partnership. That's been the core of what Bournemouth have done this season. Defensive identity, physicality, a deep lying system, building out from the back. That's been the core of what Bournemouth have been this season. That has led them to so much success in the FA Cup, in the Premier League, and all in all, playing some of the most attractive football and being one of the most successful sides in the English top flight this season. It's been off the back of those two at the back. So we know Dean Huijsen's on his way to likely Real Madrid. So it's going to be a real exciting time to see him alongside Zarbani playing for one of the last times together. Can they put together one more historic performance and get a result away from home at the Etihad? I hope so, but I think they will. I think Man City will still tear them apart. Their B team, C team, whoever they put out after the cup final will still be enough to beat this Bournemouth side. I've gone with the Man City 3-1 win here. Bournemouth will cause some threats on the counter-attack, but the ruthlessness and the quality in the final third for Man City will make the difference in this game here. There we go, ladies and gents. That brings this prediction video to an end for match day 37 in the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who are some of your key players? What's some of your favourite games from the weekend? What are your predictions? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Press that like button if you enjoyed the video, guys. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more football content here at the channel, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload our podcast, reaction videos, prediction videos, and the rest. It's all going to live here on the Players Zone channel. With that being said, guys, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football action. And until next time, guys, see you later.